The Buffalo Bills have a rich history that began when Ralph Wilson Jr. founded the team in 1959. Over the years, they've experienced many highs and lows, but they've always had a roster filled with incredible players, including several Hall of Famers. These great players have made the Bills one of the top franchises in NFL history. Now, let's take a look at the top 8 players in Bills history. Let's kick things off by talking about Josh Allen. There's no doubt Allen is one of the best quarterbacks in football today. His physical abilities are off the charts, even in an era filled with athletic quarterbacks. He's got the stats and broken records to prove it. Drafted by the Bills with the 7th overall pick in 2018, Allen has been on a steady rise. The 6'5" powerhouse with an incredible arm has a 63-30 record as a starting quarterback. In just 6 seasons, Allen has already climbed to 3rd on Buffalo's all-time passing yards list with 22,703 yards, behind only Jim Kelly and Joe Ferguson. He's also 3rd in franchise history for passing touchdowns with 167, once behind Kelly, 237, and Ferguson at 181. Allen set the record for the best single passing season in Bills history with 4,544 yards in 2020 and has 4 of the top 5 passing seasons ever for a Bills quarterback. This 3-time MVP finalist has led the Bills to 4 straight AFC East division titles. While he's still chasing that elusive Super Bowl, partly due to competing in the same conference as Patrick Mahomes, Allen has definitely earned his place on the list of top Bills players. At number 7, we have Steve Tasker, and including him on this list might surprise some people, but he changed the way special teams were viewed in the NFL. Drafted in the 9th round of the 1985 NFL Draft by the Houston Oilers, Tasker played just 9 games with them before the Bills picked him up off waivers in November 1986. While he only caught 51 passes for 779 yards as a receiver, that's not what made him famous. He was a speedy and effective gunner on special teams. In an era where players who weren't kickers or returners were often overlooked, Tasker stood out. He earned 7 Pro Bowl appearances and made the first team All-Pro 7 times. Remarkably, he was the only special teams player to ever win the MVP of the Pro Bowl, a feat he accomplished in 1993. Tasker is a member of the Bills' all-time team and is considered one of the greatest special teams players in NFL history. Even though he's not in the Hall of Fame, he was included in the NFL's all-time team picked in 2000, which shows just how influential he was. Coming in at number 6 is Andre Reed. Drafted in the 4th round of the 1985 NFL Draft, Reed played 15 amazing seasons for the Bills. During his time in Orchard Park, he helped the team win 4 straight AFC Championship titles and reach the Super Bowl each of those years. As the starting wide receiver during those Super Bowl runs, Reed caught 941 passes for 13,095 yards and 86 touchdowns in his 217 starts. He was quarterback Jim Kelly's favorite target, playing a huge role in the Bills' success. One of Reed's most memorable moments was in The Comeback, one of the greatest comeback games in NFL history. The Bills were down 35-3 to the Houston Oilers in the 3rd quarter, but Reed's incredible performance with 8 receptions for 136 yards and 3 touchdowns was crucial in erasing the deficit and winning the game. Reed is tied for first in Bills history with 87 touchdowns. He holds the team's records for catches at 941, receiving yards at 13,095, and receiving touchdowns at 86. He also has the most games played in team history with 221. In the NFL, he ranks 15th all-time for touchdowns at 87, has the 9th most postseason receptions at 85, and the 2nd most career Super Bowl receptions. Reed was named to the All-Pro team twice and was a 7-time Pro Bowler. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2014, and his name is forever enshrined on the Wall of Fame inside Highmark Stadium. If you're enjoying the content and value is being provided, smash that like button and hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you're staying up to date as we drop these videos. Now, on to the top 5. Entering the top 5, at number 5 is our first defensive player, Cornelius "Biscuit" Bennett. Bennett was a standout linebacker for the Buffalo Bills for 9 seasons. He was originally drafted with the 2nd pick of the 1987 draft by the Colts, but when contract negotiations fell through, he was traded to the Bills in what the New York Times called the trade of the decade. Once he arrived in Buffalo, Bennett quickly made an impact. He primarily played as a left outside linebacker, starting 128 games and recording 793 tackles, 52.5 sacks, and 6 interceptions. He also forced 22 fumbles and recovered 19. Bennett also made 5 Pro Bowl appearances and was named to the All-Pro team 3 times and was a key part of the team that made it to 4 consecutive Super Bowls from 1990 through 1993, though they fell short of winning a championship. During his time with the Bills, Bennett was one of the most feared defenders in the league and is a member of the Bills' all-time team. With his 52.5 sacks, he ranks 4th in Bills history and played a crucial role in their defense, solidifying his place as one of the greatest Bills players ever. At number 4, we have Thurman Thomas. Drafted with the 40th overall pick by the Buffalo Bills in 1988, Thomas became a crucial part of the legendary Bills teams of the late 80s and early 90s. A tough, physical runner, he spent 12 years with the Bills, racking up 11,938 rushing yards, the most in Bills history, and scoring 80 touchdowns. He averaged 4.2 yards per carry and added another 4,458 yards and 23 touchdowns on 472 receptions. Thomas was even more impressive in the playoffs. In 21 postseason games, he caught 76 passes for 672 yards, rushed for 1,442 yards, scored the most postseason touchdowns at 21, and holds the record for most consecutive playoff games with a touchdown, 9. Remarkably, he's one of only 5 running backs to have 8 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons and one of just 6 running backs, including legends like Walter Payton, LaDainian Tomlinson, and Barry Sanders, to have over 10,000 rushing yards and more than 400 receptions. During his time with the Bills, Thomas was a 5-time Pro Bowler, a 3-time All-Pro, and the 1991 MVP. He was the first player in NFL history to lead the league in yards from scrimmage for 4 straight years, from 1989 through 92. He remains the Bills' all-time leader in rushing yards and total touchdowns. In recognition of his outstanding career, Thomas was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2007. Entering the top 3, we have O.J. Simpson. While his off-field issues are well known, there's no denying his incredible talent on the football field. Selected with the first pick of the 1969 NFL Draft, Simpson became one of the best running backs in NFL history, making a huge impact during the 1970s. In his 9th season with the Bills, Simpson averaged 4.8 yards per carry, gained 10,183 yards, scored 57 touchdowns, and averaged 90.9 rushing yards per game. He was a 4-time rushing champion, a 6-time Pro Bowler, and a 5-time All-Pro. Simpson was also named NFL Player of the Year 3 times, 1972, 1973, and 1975. In 1973, he became the first player to rush for over 2,000 yards in a season, finishing with 2,003 yards in just 14 games, a feat that still stands unmatched in a 14-game season. Despite his off-field controversies, Simpson was undoubtedly one of the NFL's original superstar running backs, showcasing generational talent and producing some of the greatest rushing seasons of all time. Coming in at number 2 is Jim Kelly. The 1983 quarterback class is known as the best in NFL draft history, and Kelly was the 3rd quarterback taken off John Elway and Dan Marino. Despite being selected by the Bills, Kelly didn't want to play in Buffalo initially. His dislike for the cold weather led him to sign with the USFL's Houston Gamblers, where he played for 2 years, throwing for 9,892 yards and 83 touchdowns. After the USFL collapsed, Kelly joined the Bills in 1986. Kelly went on to lead the Bills to a 101-59 regular season record, taking the team to the Super Bowl 4 years in a row as an AFC powerhouse. He helped develop and operated the famous K-Gun offense, a quick-tempo, no-huddle, hurry-up strategy designed to wear out defenses by preventing them from adjusting or substituting. This offense was a major contributor to Kelly's impressive career stats: 2,874 completions for 35,467 yards and 237 touchdowns. In the postseason, Kelly completed 322 of 545 throws for 3,863 yards and 21 touchdowns. He also added 7 rushing touchdowns and 1,049 rushing yards. Kelly is the Bills' all-time leader in passing yards at 35,467, completions at 2,847, attempts at 4,779, and touchdown passes at 237. He was a 5-time Pro Bowler, a 3-time All-Pro, and was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2002. But coming in at number 1 is Bruce Smith, as he claims the top spot without question. Bruce Smith is not only one of the best defensive players in Buffalo Bills history, but also in the entire NFL. Any offense that faced Buffalo in the 90s still has nightmares when they hear his name. Drafted with the first pick of the 1985 NFL Draft, Smith spent 15 years with the Bills, recording 941 tackles, 171 sacks, and 35 forced fumbles, and achieved at least 10 sacks in 12 of his 15 seasons with the team. Smith dominated the 1990s, playing a major role in taking Buffalo to their first Super Bowl after racking up 20 sacks in a season. As a future first-ballot Hall of Famer, he was one of the key reasons the Bills won 4 straight AFC titles. Impressively, Smith did most of his work from a 3-4 defense, where usually the linebackers make most of the plays. Smith was ranked as NFL.com's 31st best player ever. He was named to 14 Pro Bowls and was an 11-time All-Pro, a Bills record. Plus, he was twice voted Defensive Player of the Year and recorded more sacks than any player in NFL history, finishing his career with 200 sacks, including a team record 171 with the Bills. Smith was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2009, his first year of eligibility, and his name was added to the Bills' Wall of Fame the previous year. Now, there are numerous players who could stake a claim as the greatest in Bills history, each bringing their own unique talents and contributions to the team. These 8 players, based on their impressive stats and accolades, certainly stand out among the rest. What do you think? Who would you add to this list or maybe even rearrange? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thanks for watching.